Savannah, you guys okay over there?
Yeah, we're all set. You ready to go live?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay, going live.
We can open the room. I'll do it. Okay, aloha kako. I see friends joining us here on our Zoom. And I see we're live on our Facebook page. We're really excited to be a part of Hawaiian History Month and to, on behalf of Hawaiʻi Ponoʻī Coalition, it's just been an honor to be here with all of you. You know, we started our first Hawaiian History Month celebrating the 182nd birthday of Queen Liliʻuokalani. It was an amazing celebration where we were welcomed into the palace. Paula Akana was there. We had so many mele and honorings. It just turned out to be beautiful. You know, we even went over to Kawaihaʻo Church, and Malia Ka'ai Barrett and others were there to sing mele in our Queen's honor. And it was such a great way to start off our month. And, you know, week one, so we started on September 2nd on her birthday. And every week we've been having amazing programming that started with Hau'oli Lahanawe Lili'u. We even showed the film of Onipa'a and brought on amazing filmmakers like David Kalama and Joan Lander from Namaka ʻāina, and hearing mo'olelo of when they were there documenting that day. We even heard from Kumujano Osorio from Hawaii Nui Akea, the School of Hawaiian Knowledge. And then week two, we went and connected with all of the Maipuina actors and playwrights and directors and heard their mo'olelo and the way that we carry on our history through those kinds of creative movements. Week three, we continued on our journey of Hawaiian History Month, partnering with Papa'ola Lokahi and the Native Hawaiian Health Department at JABSOM. And we talked about ho'ola and the health and well-being of our lāhui. You know, Dr. Ben Young joined us and so many of our la'au practitioners. That was week three. Week four, Mele Lāhui, Auntie Nola Nahulu, and the Hawaii Youth Opera Chorus brought us so much mo'olelo that really we learned about Mekia Ke Alakai and just so many, the sovereign strings and the string quartets and such great music. It's been such a great celebration. And, you know, we're wrapping it up today, week 5, Pule'e Lima with Aloha ʻāina from Voice to Action. We got so much that we're ready to share with you. And, you know, for all of you, I have my mobile phone right here and I'm on our page and I'm clicking on share because I want all of our friends to come and join us. And I encourage all of you, I see about 62 people right now on our live. I encourage all of you to do the same, share your post and let all your friends know to come and join us. And how we're doing today is we're gonna start off with a panel with some amazing leaders of our community that have been a part of the project and really have some mana'o to share with all of us about our theme for today, week 5, Aloha ʻāina from Voice to Action. And then right before Kaukalai Kololo, we will be ending this live and we will be premiering a special film that we will hear a little bit more about. And I'm excited to watch it together with all of you. And yeah, when I texted some friends this morning, I said, you're gonna wanna tune in for this na'au-wrenching film. And I really mean it when I say that. Somebody said, oh, it's an amazing film. It's this, is that. And when I was choosing my words, I don't know, I chose na'au-wrenching as a way that I want to describe it. So you're going to want to have to make sure you come back. So again, aloha to all of our friends. And I see people saying aloha in our chat here and also on our Facebook page. So I'm going to stop sharing and then we'll be able to see all of our friends that are joining here, and we'll do a quick round of ho'olauna. So aloha again, everyone. I'm Malia Nobrega Oliveira, and on behalf of the Hawaii'i Ponoʻī Coalition, and we're just really excited for wrapping up Hawaiian History Month. And we know that Hawaiian History Month is not just Hawaiian history is not just 1 month. It's really a lifetime of our mo'olelo and all the generations that come with it. So I'm just gonna go. I see a round of us here, and it'll be easier if I just call on each of you. So let's start with Zach. Let us know, give us a quick ho'olauna and where you're tuning in from.
Hello, my kako. My name is Zachary Lum. Just really privileged to be a part of this panel here with some amazing people. And for the reason of premiering something later, in about an hour, that is incredibly powerful. I'm tuning in from, actually, we're on Maui right now. We're in Makawao, at my in-laws' house. Our son is getting some awesome ohana time right now. So yeah, aloha nui.
Aloha to your ohana. So next on my screen here is Del. Aloha, Del.
Aloha, everybody. It's truly an honor to be a part of this panel and to talk about this great project. But we just got through watching a preview of what's to come in an hour, and I'm telling you to go get your Kleenex because we all teared up. I'm in a time and space now that I never thought I'd be in, and I'm very honored that, and just truly honored that I can share a perspective of doing a project like this and seeing where we've come from the 60s to now, and share that. My backdrop here, that screen that you see there, is two of my mentors. One of them is Ku'ike Kamakea Ohelo's daddy. That's Kalani Ohelo, right in the middle. And then big Hawaiian on the side. His name is Wala, or Wendo Kahale o Umi. And kind of inadvertently, I got mentored by them. And it was just, I needed to honor them by having them here with me, because this is the first time that I'm sharing my mana'o on things of our lāhui and things that deserve recognition. And we need to shed some light on both sides of where we came from and where we're going. So thanks,
Awesome, mahalo. We'll go over to Chad. Aloha, Chad.
Yeah, aloha. O ke ia o Chad Takatsugi, he mamoau no kapahulu o Ahu. And I just want to say how much I have to contain my excitement and my fangirliness to be on this panel with some major movers and shakers within our lāhui. It's extremely humbling, but also at the same time, I think we're starting to build the excitement about something that's going to be coming up. In this for as long as any of us can remember, there's been this series of small pivot points that are changing the trajectory of our lāhui. And last year, the release of the Haʻaheo, Kuʻu Hawaiʻi video was another one of those small pivot points. And today, I think, is going to be another one. So I'm extremely, extremely proud to be a part of this conversation. And want to send some aloha from Nu'uanu Oahu.
Nu'uanu. So we'll go over to Nāʻālehu. Aloha, Nāʻālehu.
Aloha nui kako. Yeah, I think just share the sentiments of everyone else on the panel. We all clicked on about a half hour ago, and we're all wearing red shirts and just you know, spend a little bit of time reconnecting as we've been sheltered in place for so long. And then, you know, I got an opportunity to share just this latest creation that we can talk a little bit about in a minute. But one of the things that when we were previewing it last night as like the final cut, that really struck me was just how really fortunate we've been to see some of these things go by. As a filmmaker, as a media maker, you know, I've had access to some of this front and center, and it's really to me is the duality of it, right? Is like the privilege to be there, and then the kuleana to do something, you know, important with it, and that both of those things involve a incredible amount of trust. And so I wanted to take this opportunity at the front of this to thank all of you and all of who you represent. Whether you're producers on an album, or you're a hakumele, or you are one of the people who have lent your leo to this, on behalf of myself and the whole team, this incredible team that's come together to make things like this. It's like we want to thank you for the trust that you give in allowing your voices and your images to be put together in this way. So mahalo nui. And I'm in my home in Ka'ava, Oahu, where I grew up. Aloha.
Hi, aloha no.
Yo.
And we'll turn it over to Hina for a quick ho'olauna. Wait, you're on mute.
Ano ai ke aloha ia katoa pauloha no wai nei pai ai no holo otoa. Mai kai au pai ai na mai hawa inu yo kia be. Hiti loa. Hiti one na ni i hau. Mai ne inei mata home aloha i puhunui, manu uanu. Te aloha aina ia katoa pauloha. O wauno o Hinaleimoana Wong Kalu. Au olia kula no wau kato launa ana ke ia la. Hau olia no wau noho mai mane inei mate a panela nei. Mahalo nui ko kako hui ana. Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha nui.
Such a great honor, like we've all said, to be together here. And you know, I want to say aloha to friends that are joining us from the Bay Area, from as far as Finland, Provo, Utah, Michigan. I see Aloha, Oregon in here. All over the ʻāina. You know, we have so many friends that are joining us, and I think I also see a friend that's joining from Aotearoa. So we definitely have a global audience with us today. And again, I continue to ask you to share and keep inviting all your friends. And so, you know, let's get started. I'm all ha'alulu because, yeah, we did watch the film before this, and we're all kind of at that emotional state. And so I'm going to turn it back to Kumuhina. You know, Kuʻu Haʻaheo e Kuʻu Hawaiʻi was really a galvanizing call to the ʻāina and to just everyone in this global audience that we're referring to today. You know, but we've heard that really this mele was written way before that and had a lot of other intentions that came with it. Can you tell us a little bit more about this journey of your haku mele of Kuʻu Haʻaheo e Kuʻu Hawaiʻi?
Yes. First of all, the picture that's behind me, you see me as a little child. I chose this photo because it honors my grandmother, my mom's mom, Mona ʻīolani ke aloha, who married my grandfather, John Furtado Matias. My grandma Mona was the person who planted the first seed and watered and nurtured it for my earliest years. And she made sure that I believed in all that was going to retain us as being Hawaiian. And she told me one day I was going to be a teacher. She put the blanket of her olelo on top of me. And she she had wanted me to avail myself to standing up for our language and our culture and our people. So I honor her today. And then I have to give a shout out, since this time is limited, to my students, my former students of Aloha ʻāina Public Charter School, for whom when Haʻaheo was composed, I had them in mind. And I wanted my students to have something to represent themselves with wherever and whenever they would go out to the public. I needed a mele that we could walk in with, that we could exit with. I needed a mele to express the love of country as Hawaiians, as Kanaka, the love of our land, the love for our people, the love for our beloved flag. And so this song was born. And I also have to give a shout out to my choir and Ohana o Kahai Pule, Siasia Tonga Tau Ataina, here on Oahu, in Kalihi, is our head home. The singing that we do together as the Ohana Haipule is what inspired my heart to put it out in this way. So I give everyone a shout out whom had some major roles in influencing this, but you know, I am humbled by the fact that so many have learned it and taking it, they took it and made it theirs. So this is a mele that belongs to all of us as a collective now. And mahalo for allowing me to share that today.
Mahalo nui.
Mahalo.
Yeah, it's definitely been a mele that has traveled to so many different parts of our honua. And part of our honua today is this YouTube world as well. And, you know, I learned, and I didn't know this, but really the first video that came out got over 1 million views on our just the YouTube channel alone. And so I wanted to ask Chad, as the project manager of the music video and just bringing everyone together for that, you know, tell us a little bit about that huaka'i and that part of the project.
Right. You know, I think it's really valuable that we started off with the hakumele Hina, kind of sharing her the background and inspiration behind the mele, because it's important to know that this did not start with Mauna Kea. The mele did not start with Mauna Kea. That it wasn't until several years into the battle, you know, in recent years, that that the Kia'i of Mauna Kea and supporters kind of lifted it up as an anthem and banner for that effort. And so, you know, if we can maybe frame it that way, there was that very fateful moment, right, when the tensions on Mauna Kea had kind of reached this boiling point, and law enforcement had come and stood face to face with some of our kupuna, some of our kia'i, our wahine stood together, and because of the wonders of technology, we were all able to kind of witness it firsthand, what was going on. You know, this is very different from any other point in history where such a pivotal moment is usually only captured through written accounts and eyewitness accounts and transferred over, and that paints pictures for us as we recall. But this was one of the first times where we as a lāhui were able to see exactly what was happening, unfiltered, and without any kind of hue to shade the way that we interpret our own history. And so as this was unfolding, I remember I was at work during that morning, and I was in my office, and I was failing at trying to hold back the emotions as I saw our kupuna being carried away, as I saw these young intelligent Kanaka Maoli who have been raised to understand that there is a kuleana for us to be able to determine what our story is, stand in the face of people who did not understand that same value. And as a musician, as a pukani, I felt I needed to do something. And to be honest, I was struggling with my own thoughts of like, I'm not there. How can I not be there standing with my people? And it took me a long time to realize that to be a kia'i meant different things. You can be a kia'i on Mauna Kea, but you can also be a kia'i in your own space. And so what happened was a lot of the different musicians, you know, you kind of saw it organically just kind of raise out of the ground. And you see a lot of hakumele start to follow the steps of their kupuna. And we captured our story in our words through our lens. And so you saw these different meles come up and lots of people sharing it. And what happened was, I think that was just the half step before a conversation that happened between myself, Zach, and Ryan Gonzalez from Kana'aokana, when it was like, we need to capture this moment. We keep reading about this stuff. We keep talking. We keep learning about these stuff in our classes as if this is some ancient practice. But we need to do that now. And so that was where the project Kuha'u Mauna Kea came about. 17 new compositions about the struggle that we're going through, and we needed this capstone. And so Ku'u Hawaiʻi was because of the status as this anthem for this movement. We thought this would be a great opportunity for us to do our lāhui some justice by pulling together all of the musicians who said that they wanted to do their part. It'd be, if you look at the video, it's funny, right? You have this array, this menu of some of the most celebrated mele practitioners, hakumele practitioners in that room. And quite honestly, we tried to do that. We tried to do the exercise of how much does this room cost right now? If we were to pay for this room, how much would this cost? And it was astronomical, right? It was into the, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not one penny was spent, however, because every single one of those artists, when we approached them, there was not a moment of hesitation. Every single one of those artists said, yes, tell me when to be there, tell me what I need to do, and tell me how I can help after. And so what you saw was this capturing of a moment that was very intimate for the musicians, one way to express our support, for us to be kia'i in our own space. But it was also this expression that, you say, over 1 million views, which says a lot about an expression of Aloha ʻāina that is so kind of held closely to our people. But if you followed, people around the world, whether they were Hawaiian or not, were resonating with this message. So many people say, I have no idea what you're singing about. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I am touched on some sub level of my consciousness. And I understand the fight. I see better the fight that you folks are taking up right now. We stand with you. Whatever this cause is, Mauna Kea, if that's the cause, then we stand with you. And that was really kind of the underlying intent of this is how do we as musicians do our part to package up this concept of Aloha ʻāina so that both our lāhui as well as anybody who understands the importance of place and where you come from and your identity as a result of where you come from, how can we get that out there? And so, just the testament is, proof's in the pudding, right? This has resonated, and it's so amazing that it has, and we're looking forward to the next step now.
Awesome. Yeah, I have so many thoughts going on here, but I want to mahalo you for pointing out that about being a kia'i and how not all of us were able to go to the mauna, like myself. And, we all have different kuleana in different places. And my husband and I were looking for that little time to see if we could go. But my kuleana here at home as a caregiver, was that being a kia'i here for mom and being a kia'i for my aina of Hanapepe and Pu'olo Point. And So I really like that you pointed that out, that no matter where we are a kiaʻi in all of these different ways, and we need to identify that for ourselves and malama ourselves so that we can continue to give to the larger community and to the lāhui. And so I wanted to maybe go over to Lehu now. You know, you mentioned earlier about being a media maker, and, you know, there's some gratitude in our chats coming through for our media makers and for sharing, and for, of course, our haku mele as well, and all of our musicians who share Hawaiian history in all of these different ways. You know, as a part of your huaka'i with Hokulea and the Malama Honua voyage, and with ʻŌiwiTV and your ongoing work, what stands out about this project and what made this so special that above all the rest?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I mean, this is actually, I don't know how many people know this, but the reason why I got into filmmaking was because of stuff like this. You know, I grew up on the protest circuit from when I was really small. It was Stop the 7-Eleven down the road when I was 5, and, you know, the Brown evictions when I was 7, and then there was the right to sue and all these things. And I swore it all off that, you know, this was like, you know, I didn't go to soccer or baseball. I went to protests with my mom and dad, and it was like something that when you're a kid is like, especially in the time space, it wasn't something that necessarily you wanted to do. And really, the from that, just now, the ideal is an important tool to take back the voice, and that for a couple of generations, people were telling stories about us and for us, but not by us. And that really what this group represents is taking that back in all the different ways in which you can, whether you're writing songs, you know, whether you're producing music, whether you're making films. As media makers, that's our role now, is to share these stories that are a better reflection of us. And so as we build on that, and you know, like, I was really happy to hear that you had Joan and David Kalama and the folks who came before us who really kind of stepped out into what was the unknown then, to tell stories about and by. And so what we have now is we have a much larger hui of people who are telling all kinds of stories, right? And so ʻŌiwiTV is like a piece of that, but it's certainly not the only piece of that. And you have independent filmmakers and folks who are making content that are reflections of their communities and their people and where they come from. And what you're going to see in about a half an hour is a collection of that. This isn't just an ʻŌiwiTV project. This was like, we pulled footage from across the ʻāina of people who were making content to show what was happening in their communities that tied into this larger set of movements. And so just a huge shout out to all the people who contribute in the way that Chad and Zach are talking about, with this idea that we have an opportunity to contribute something, and whether it's our voice or our camera or our perspective through a lens, like, that's something that we wanted to do. That night, so this all started off was like, I had heard that they were making an album, and I saw Zach at Kikihula, and I was like, hey, if you guys are going to go into studio, I want to come and shoot some of it. And I was thinking they're going to do one song at a time in somebody's studio, and we could shoot some of it and cut together. And then when I heard about this kind of We Are the World kind of idea, I was like, I want in. What do I got to do? You know, we'll bring all the gear and whatever. And then that night, I mean, I'll never forget that night. It's like, first of all, everybody just brought their best version of themselves, right? To Chad's point, any one of these folks could hold the room and hold the space, but they all came and they said, no, this isn't about us. This is about the lāhui, and this is about bringing mana to this movement and this song in a way that hasn't been done yet. And when we started recording the compilation part with everybody in there, you could just feel it reverberating through the lens. I was like, got so excited. I was like, oh, I know that this is the take. Like, I don't even have to check the tape. This is it. And so we did a couple of those, and I was just sure we had it in the can. And I was you know, there've been like maybe not even 10 times that I've been in places and spaces where things reverberated like that in the space, where it's like, you know, Hokulea homecoming, or you know, being on a canoe when you first sight land and you feel like the kupuna with us in those kinds of spaces, saying, yep, you guys just were on this journey for 30 days and you did all the right things and you pulled land from the sea. It's like that. It's like wasn't just us in the room, was like all of our kupuna who've come before us to say, this is this important piece of the puzzle. And you can hear it. You can hear it in the song. And so maybe just to preview a little bit about what happens in half an hour is that with that kind of resonance in the song as a baseline, we added on pictures and images from around the movement starting you know, several years back. I mean, it's important to note how long the struggle has been going on, certainly over Mauna Kea for now decades, but it would crescendo in 2015, where there would be these big run-ups. And those are important pieces of history that we won't actually know how important they are for maybe 2 or 3 more generations as we look back on these things. And so what I would leave you with is just a sincere thanks that everybody came together in a way that we were privileged enough to capture these images. And I just want to give a huge shout out to, when you guys see this current cut, there's countless shooters who are involved in it, but there were 3 individuals who were just like pressed on the gas the last week to make it go. Maui Tautaha, who's the senior editor over at ʻŌiwiTV, who's been cutting on this, trying to make it go, sorting through hours and hours of footage with his helper editor, Jason Patterson, and then Leimile Barrett, who's come on as kind of a line producer to make it all come together. So without those 3 guys, you wouldn't get to see this video in half an hour. So just a huge mahalo to everybody.
Yeah, mahalo. So, you know, actually, we were planning to show the film from earlier as a opening, but I think this might be a good time to show that film, that first cut. I don't know, do you want to say, I know you mentioned a little bit about you know, filming in the studio with the musicians, but you know, maybe the people that are joining us now are not part of that million that already saw it. So that might get us a little more into the mood too.
Yeah, I think it might be actually interesting to see the 2 juxtaposed like that within the context of this. So I don't know if we have it.
I have it.
Oh, see, you have all the
go.
things. Perfect.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna pull that up now, gang, and we're gonna watch that film if you didn't get to watch it yet. And let me just make sure that it's playing correctly here. Give me just a second. Sorry, I want to make sure that I have all the right. Oh yeah, I need to click on these 2 things. Make sure it's the right one.
So as you're bringing it up, just a little bit of context. This was shot in 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 takes.
Del Beazley has a good mana'o for all those artists who take, including myself, who take a lot longer than 3 hours to record a song.
Kai ko'o ka moana kai lana nei Hawaiʻi nau e wehe a halulu ka honua a haumea nā kulukulu e ka lani ki e kau mai luna au e ke aloha ole a ka malihini. Ne ko kamalala walula me ka kuhi hewa. Alu mai pu, alu mai me ko mano ka lani po. Ka I mai ana mena ka ma ka hele lani.
Ku Haʻaheo, Kuʻu Hawaiʻi, Mama Kakaua, Kuʻu ʻāina, o ke ehu ka kahiaka, o na ʻōiwi o Hawaiʻi nei, no kuʻu lāhui e haʻawi pau, ʻaiola mau.
E naue mua e nā poki'i a e inu wai awa awa. He viwa ole a hoku pa'a a o he hope hoi mai ai. Ana I wale no ka kou kau ko e mau I ke ala au e ke aloha ole a ka malihini. E le mau I le mau ka koe nā mamo aloha I le wehi a ali I wehi nani o kuʻu ʻāina. Hoe a mau no ka pono sivila a hoi hoi hou ia mai ke kuʻokoʻa.
Ku Haʻaheo, Ku Hawaiʻi, Mama Kakaua, ʻāina, o ke ehu ka kahiaka, o na ʻōiwi o Hawaiʻi nei, no kuʻu lāhui e haʻawi pau, ʻaiola mau.
Ku Haʻaheo, Kuʻu Hawaiʻi, Mama Kakaua, ʻāina, o ke ehu ka kahiaka, o na ʻōiwi o Hawaiʻi nei, no kuʻu lāhui e haʻawi pau, ʻaiola mau. No kuʻu lāhui e haʻawi pau, ʻaiola mau. No kuʻu lāhui e haʻawi pau, ʻaiola mau.
Oh, okay. Wipe.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, so Del, maybe we'll go over to you, a reflection on that time as one of, our musicians who has been a part of our music makers and our lāhui movement for so long. And then, of course, you talked about your mentors, that you brought with you and that we all bring with us today.
Oh, yeah. Just being in that room, there was something magical about the moment because it was a purposed moment. Everyone was there, I believe, was chosen way before this thing happened. And those are the people that needed to be there. And we all came together and just the mana in the room. And as soon as you showed up, you knew something spectacular was going to happen. Chad talked about receiving comments from people who don't understand our language, but they felt the message. And I believe that's the most powerful part of mele, is that for me, I can feel them before I can hear them, or I can hear the lyrics. It's just something about the way it's presented. You don't have to understand the language to know what the message is. and where that message comes from. And Kuʻu Hawaiʻi has that. It has the ability to bring us all together. I've been around the movement inadvertently and purposely since the early 70s. And this movement is much different than those of the past. And it's a great thing to see. Like I explained earlier, those people on the wall mentored me. I was around when we, showed up Mokauea, Makua, Kaho'olawe, all those places. But we start with with this Kuʻu Hawaiʻi project. When Zach called me and said what the idea was, he also mentioned that I was the guy that kind of started the ball rolling on writing about or doing a song for those who are up on the mountain. So what happened was, on the day that Walter and the rest of the kia'i were chained up, I lost my mind to see them there. That we are here in this century and we still need to resort to things like this to get our message across, that we are still here. We are the few, we are the brown, but that we are the still around Hawaiians that will stand for what is right. So all I did was I started with a line that said, because I could see the clouds moving around her. And as Walter M. lay there, sorry if I lose a simple line that said, the breath of Mauna Kea embraces all of you, protect you, caress you, hold you, for standing on what is pono and what is true. And that became part of the song that I did. But to be acknowledged as someone who kind of lit the fire underneath everybody's okole to write and to chronicle time, space, events for the purpose of cultural preservation is huge to me. As a young man, people thought that I was going to be an educator. And I thought that too, but it didn't happen. But now, being around these great people, Kumuhina, Zachary, Chad, Nāʻālehu, my generation was the dark ages. They kind of skipped us, But this younger generation who had all the resources and the sources afforded them. They have filled up their gas tank to the max. Us guys was looking for the gas station back then somewhat. These guys had the gas station, filled up their tanks, and they ran with this thing. And we are where we are today with a very formidable front. I heard you talk about your position of not being there up at the mountain, not being able because of your kuleana. And I just want to share this. You see, I'm going to use the nai as an example. The nai is the backing, of the ahula, of the cape. Many hours of prayer go into that. The feathers that adorn this cape is what the focal point is what they can see. I liken that to the people at the front of the charge. More importantly, the backing is what keeps it together. When I went up to the Mauna, I saw the night. All the people who were in the background doing whatever they had to do to let the head, to let the lead do their job. And that's where we're at today. Just like the spear, the ihe, the point cannot penetrate if no more the shaft. It's what is behind that propels that to do the damage, to pierce. Just to be there. I think I learned a new word that night from Kelly Raichel. He said he was fangirling. I didn't know what fangirling was. And then when I got when I looked around at who was there, I mean, I stood next to Hina that whole time. It's just, I cannot explain what an honor it is for me to be in a room with people like Robert Casimiro, Moon, Luis Kaukahi. These are, they're iconic in Hawaiian music, yeah? And the rest of us, Fern, Kapalaiula is there. You look at her, you know, her line, Snowbird, all these people, different walks, but same purpose. Same purpose. So to Zachary and Chad, amazing work, what you guys did. And then I think I was the first, if I'm not mistaken, because my session on this project with this song that I wrote called Rise was right after we recorded, I believe, Haʻaheo. And I was the first pretty much to hear it. Zachary tells me, hey, check this out. Mikey did this, Mikey Grande. And they put the pahu in. And that thing just floored me. It just totally floored me. Because I believe to today that the mana or the pulse, the drive that comes, if you go to Aha, you attend and you hear the resonance and you hear the drive and you feel that thing. That is the driving force. That is part of the heartbeat of our people. And that will always keep us moving forward. Can I help? I get Portuguese, that's why I talk long, eh?
No, it's good. It's good. I mean, for all the many, many years of work that you've done, you know, you need your own hour for real to tell us about all of that. So, and no, go ahead, Zach, because I'm gonna turn it over to you too. Maybe you can respond and kind of, you know, just tell us about the project from that video and then now moving forward. And yeah, what does that mean as far as Aloha ʻāina from voice to action?
No, mahalo malia, and you know, I just kind of help but smile when I hear every single one of these panelists kind of share their mana'o as far as what Kuʻu Hawaiʻi is as a mele, as a presentation, as a music video, and then now today in 13 minutes, what it is about to be shown as well. And I think what's beautiful about it is that this mele has become the kui, right? This mele has become the thing that strings this collective lei of people of Aloha ʻāina together. And the most profound aspect of that, though, is the fact that this kui it's not finished. You know, there are more flowers, there are more pua Aloha ʻāina, there are more pua a'o keia ʻāina o Hawaii nei to continue to weave, to continue to bring together as this collective lei that that all started with this wonderful mele by Kumuhina. So I just really want to say mahalo to her. I want to say mahalo to Chad for being such an amazing facilitator of what has become this incredible pivotal moment in time that like everyone else in the room, I will never forget. And to be able to capture that on film, I want to thank Lehu so much for being willing to be there. I almost want to say to capture the uncapturable, but he did, and so did his entire team. And to Del and to the rest of the musicians who were there that evening. I mean, you know, you're gonna see some incredibly familiar faces, and maybe some faces that you may not be so familiar with. And we realized halfway through making this is like, this is history right here. Jump in. Are you waiting? Anybody else? Get inside this video real fast, because your grandchildren and your great grandchildren are gonna watch this video and you're really, that's my grandma, that's my great grandma, and she's standing next to so and so or so and so, and Del Beazley is obviously one of those people. Yeah, she's standing next to Del Beazley. You know, there's this these incredible moments that have already become this frame through which we understand mele's power to bring Aloha ʻāina, or in broader terms, to bring us all together. So on this eve, it's been 1 year exactly to the day where this album Kuha'o Mauna Kea was released. It was released in September 30th, 2019. Here we are, September 30th, 2020, kind of bringing this to another place. I mean, the album itself, you know, it's nominated for all these hokus. I think there's 7 hokus it's nominated for. It's on the Grammy nominee ballot too, which I believe also opens today. And that's just, you know, those are just certain, I guess, metrics that we look at this, the success of these presentations. But I think what's wonderful is that this video that we're about to premiere is, if last year's video was a call, was a kāhea, or contributed to this larger kāhea of what we hope happened, this video is the response. This new video that we're about to see shows what the lāhui did, continues to do, in response, not just to a music video, not just to this mele, but to this, again, this collective expression, this collective galvanizing of making sure that we're all unified in thought. And I think the thing that I wanted to make sure that I got to say too was the idea that, you know, it's easy to get caught up in the issue, you know, the issue that we're gonna see, or to not ignore the fact that there are multiple sides to every story. But here's the thing that I kind of want to emphasize with this presentation. When you see it through the lens of Aloha ʻāina, this is kind of what Lehu was saying earlier. This is a presentation where Aloha ʻāina wins, you know? And here's the evidence right here. Watch this video. Here's Aloha ʻāina. It's irrefutable that not only over the past year, over the past years, that we are continually on this rise of what Aloha ʻāina means as we continue to understand how it's expressed, not just the kiaʻi on the mauna, but the kiaʻi at your house, or the kiaʻi in your practices, or the kiaʻi in what you do in your work. All of that comes to value as a part of this lei Aloha ʻāina that is continue I kui ia ke ia melene kumuhina. So, you know, with all that said, I just wanted to make sure that I say mahalo. I know this, I wish this panel lasted another few hours. Del could tell us his stories, because these, maybe Del needs to have another, like a Lea Nui Nui or something, Mali. I don't know what you did. I never mean to put you on the spot, but I mean, it would just be incredible to continue this conversation. But the point is, this video that's about to drop, it is a conversation starter, and it's a reflection, and it's a moment that we can kind of just separate ourselves and say, oh yeah, I remember, and I remember that I'm still part of it.
Mahalo. And yes, I mean, I would love to have each of you come on to Lei Anue Nue, which are Fridays at 9 a.m. And actually this Friday, we're gonna be having a lot of our weekly program managers from Hawaiian History Month come and do a reflection. And, you know, I'm gonna let Kumuhina kind of wrap us up before I do some of my last slides here. And then what we're gonna be doing is logging off. And at 12 o'clock, we will be putting the link in the Zoom chat as well as on our Hawaiʻi Ponoʻī Coalition's Facebook page, so that you know where to go and watch this premiere. We encourage you to do watch parties and watch it over and over and share it. And I know you will enjoy it. So Kumuhina.
Mahalo. Really quickly, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the birth of what many of us in this current generation do, when we look at our history, we have to thank the Hokulea and Polynesian Voyaging Society. We have to thank Papa Mau Piailu from our cousins in Micronesia for reinstilling and reinstating that knowledge of ocean voyaging into our people, into our community. Hokulea gave birth to so many of us. And in terms of giving us a mission. And for me, they're not my only kumu, but two of the most remarkable who freed not only my mind and heart and spirit, but the hearts, minds, and spirits of so many others. Lili Kala Kame'elehiwa and Haunani K. Trask. Two kumu who taught us how to fight and how to stand up and and really just put ourselves out there. I've had many kumu ʻōlelo Hawaii, my very first in school, kumu kalaʻia kumanu Honda. I know you're out there, aloha iaʻoe. But to ia oto e tupo e ohana ni ihau, ia mamalete, ko ine kaulana, kanahele, me papa ka moele ka au moana, maala nui ia oto. Tu aloha nui na ia oto a pauloa. The message before we go on, because if I let myself go, I'm just going to away the whole time, and I'm going to keep talking. There's so many more people to mahalo, but I really want this message to carry forward to our lāhui kanaka. In this current time, we bear witness to the country that continues to politically dominate us. And the United States of America and American bipartisan politics now sends ripples throughout our own community of Kanaka. And for many of us who continue to move along this spectrum of advancing ourselves, what we know, what we see, and even for some of us who have agreed to participate in the political system that exists, let us never, ever, ever forget who we are. And if you sing Ku Haʻaheo, I can only ask that you sing it if you know the meaning of the words. The song calls upon us to honor who we are as Kanaka, the dignity and the honor and respect of the names of our kupuna and the legacy of a proud people that we call ourselves Kanaka here in Hawaii. And there's nothing more that I can say except look closely to the words. And no matter where you might find yourself in the spectrum of American bipartisan politics, being Kanaka should rise up above all of that. And it should be the glue that holds us together. So let us not be ripped asunder by those politics. Let us find ourselves closer by the meaning of aloha and what it means to be Kanaka, to be Hawaii. Mahalo.
Mahalo nui. So we're going to quickly wrap this up. I want to let you know about a site that you can go to if you want to learn more about the Kuha'au Mauna Kea project. You can go to kanaiokana.net/Mauna Kea. And you can also download this on iTunes and other digital music services. And I do have a few closing slides here. On behalf of Hawaiʻi Ponoʻī Coalition, we're putting a kāhea out to also empower the palace and to give to ʻIolani Palace. You can find out more information on our website, hawaiiponoʻi.org, or even going to ʻIolani Palace's website. And that's ʻiolanipalace.org/empower. And if you are inclined to give there, feel free to do so. We always want to say mahalo nui loa to all of our partners who have helped us bring Hawaiian History Month to all of you, to our global community. We want to say mahalo to Kamehameha Schools, Office of Hawaiian Affairs, Friends of ʻIolani Palace, Kanaio Kana, ʻŌiwiTV, Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement, Liliʻuokalani Trust, Nāmea Hawaii, Puʻu Honua Society, the UH Manoa Hawaii Nui Akea School of Hawaiian Knowledge, UH Manoa John A. Burns School of Medicine, Department of Native Hawaiian Health, Papa Ola Lokahi, Hawaii Youth Upper Chorus, Kahuli Leolea, Pam Omidyar, Noah Webster Aluli Foundation, Mana Mauli, Indigenous Portal, Mana Ikaleo Power of the Voice, Native Hawaiian Student Services at UH Manoa, Pu'u Honua o Pu'u Huluhulu, and the Historic Hawaii Foundation. Again, mahalo to all of you, to our panelists today for wrapping us up in week 5. And mahalo to all of you, to our global audience. Again, we did put the link in the chat and for facebook.com for Hawaii Ponoʻī. And if you're on here, you probably just need to refresh your page on the Facebook and we'll all watch this amazing, what I call a naʻau-wrenching video film, Haʻaheo, wait, kalamai, Haʻaheo pai ʻāina Hawaiʻi. So aloha no kākou, ahui ho.
Aloha.
Aloha.